Hey plant people, we are back with part 2 of my almost entire anthurium collection. Part 1 is already up, so if you are just clicking on this video, you have not watched part 1, I will link it in the description if you want to watch that part first. It's not necessary, but I am moving kind of in the direction of my least interesting anthurium to my more interesting anthurium. So you're just skipping straight to all the good stuff if you watch this video first and you don't watch the other video. Not to say that there's not good stuff in that video. It's just this is going to be like my top tier anthurium that are currently in my collection. If you do not want to go back and watch part 1 first, I do recommend it just because I do explain a little bit more about my growing conditions and the reason I have so many dang anthurium. But if you don't want to watch that video first, then just to kind of reiterate a couple of the important points of that video. One, I'm not showing every single anthurium in my collection just because I have over 200 anthurium, which seems crazy, but I am collecting them specifically for the purpose of breeding them in the coming months. I have gone ahead and set up my Palm Street seller account, which I will again put on the screen. Same name, it's just Leaves with Less if you want to follow me over there. A lot of the anthurium that you see in this video are going to be sold over there, or propagations of those anthurium. So if you're interested in that, give me a follow. I'd really appreciate it. Also in the future, we will probably have a website up and running, hopefully before too long, when it gets to the point when we're really selling like a lot more seedlings. Any seedlings that may be produced prior to us getting this website set up will be sold over on Palm Street. So again, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, follow me over there. You'll see all the updates. Point number 2, I am growing in ambient. So I do not have a grow tent. I do have some propagation bins / rehab bins that I'm not going to be showing in this video, that I do put like my anthurium that I am trying to get to reroot or that are acclimating, etc. in those bins. But they will be transitioned to ambient, hypothetically, hopefully, in the future. I do live in Georgia, so it is normally pretty humid already, and I run 2 humidifiers like 8 hours a day. So humidity is not really an issue for most of the plants that I grow. Also, this is not relevant to the plants, but my eye will not stop freaking twitching. So if you notice that, please just disregard. We're just gonna pretend that that is not happening, okay? Also, I was a dum-dum and I did rearrange the plants a little bit just because the vibe was really off and I needed to rearrange them. Like my soul was just telling me I needed to move them around a little bit and it was driving me cuckoo. So I did that. Am I going to be able to remember every single plant and where it was and which shelf we're at and which ones I've talked about and which ones I have not? Hopefully. I'm gonna do my very best, but I also may skip over a few. Again, was this a good decision? No, but I am just a girl trying to navigate manic episodes. So we're gonna do what we can with what we got. Alrighty, getting right into it. This one is just a wee babe. It is an Ace of Spades dart form crossed with Pure Pap, which I believe, I don't know if, this is from Wild Roots Nursery, and I am unclear on if Pure Pap is like the name of a specific pap or if they're just saying that it's of Pure Papillium lineage. Your guess is as good as mine. But it is Ace of Spades dart form crossed with Pure Pap or the Pure Pap crossed with Doc Lineage 2.0, which I am fairly certain is a specific plant that they have that is of Doc Block lineage. And I have noticed that a lot of the plants that they sell that have the Doc lineage, the veins are kind of like muddy, which I really like. And this one is of no exception. She looks a little rough from shipping, but her roots are already going cuckoo in this pot. So I have no doubt that she will be bouncing back before too long. But you can see how cool those veins are. Look at how like muddy and messy they are. I think that is going to be really, really cool looking, especially if she gets really dark from the Ace of Spades and then you have these like crazy, it looks, I don't know why, but it makes me think of Venom, like from Spider-Man. Is that kind of like, that's just the vibe. That's the vibe it's giving me, but it's really cool looking. Hopefully this lighting is okay because again, we're struggling with the transition between super bright sunny and cloudy. Even though it looks like it's gonna rain, the sun keeps busting out to ruin my exposure. So we are going to hope this looks, it looks okay on the viewfinder. So I think we're okay. But yeah, so this one is going to be a super, super cool one. She did lose her newest emergent in shipping, which is nothing to be concerned about. That happens very often. But yeah, her roots are looking great. So doing well. We have got Dog Block F2 crossed with Ace of Spades crossed with Papillium. This one, veins out of this world. Also, she's very dark, but her veins, one thing that I have started noticing in some of these kind of like Dog Block hybrids is some of them have like very silvery veins with a sinus that's not staying so much pink as this like lavender color, like a really dark lavender. And I don't think you can really pick it up on the camera like from this angle. I will try, I'm gonna try to see if I can like take a photo of this, and I will try to send it to myself to see if it shows up on the camera. And I will pop it on the screen. I do not know, this doesn't look any better than it does on the viewfinder, honestly, but we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, veins phenomenal, lobes look really cool, but yeah, the sinus is this like really dark lavender color and kind of like dark silver veins, which I think just gives it this like very gloomy, like rainy day, stormy vibe. Really pretty. This is the newest leaf. So dark purple emergence, dark purple emergence, sticking with a little bit of the lighter lavender veins, but still pretty dark and purpley. This is another one that feels a little bit similar. She is a little pouty from being shipped, but she is a NSE red crystal crossed with Forgetty Eye dark form, crossed with Mikey Boy. And that is a more hardened off leaf. So very, very dark, kind of purpley toned still. Like it has a pink margin, but it's still just, it pulls kind of purple still. And she is quite dark. This is a leaf that is kind of going downhill, so I feel like that one's probably gonna fall off. And then that was the emergent when I got it, so it is still expanding. It has not fallen off. Blah, blah, blah. It has not, I cannot talk today, it has not fallen off yet. The emergent's kind of like a pinky lavender, really cute. Nothing like super vibrant, but it is kind of like a soft muted. I think it works well with the tone of the leaf and the veins and everything. This is another one from Wild Roots Nursery. It is a plant that they have named Purple Yerple crossed with Jake's Dimples. And this one is pulling kind of like that purpley pink veination. The reason I like this one is it was a little bit narrower than any of the other ones that I've seen. Purple Yerple is their, I think it's like their red crystallinums that pull really purple and tend to have more purple emergence and veins and things like that. This one is still a little pinky. Like I definitely have plants that have purpler emergence than this. However, again, I just really like how long that's looking. This is a cross by All the Plant Babies, and I got this plant on Etsy. Honestly, I don't know if her name's Lindsay. I don't know if she has a palm street. I always buy from her on Etsy, but I've bought several plants from her, and her packaging and her crosses are really pretty. But this is I don't have a tag in this. This is her, what's it called? Some kind of red crystallinum, silver blush, something or other. But this one is just really beautiful. So very, very thick veins. The leaves come out this like very vibrant pink color. But it is more of like a baby pink, like a vibrant baby pink versus a hot pink, which I really, really love. But yeah, the emergents for this batch are really beautiful. And then the veins are very, very silver and thick, which I loved. This is Panamama 1.0 by Self. And this was surprise variegation. This one is very, it is not sectoral variegation. It's more of like a very, very low variegated tie constellation. It's very splotchy, like it just has speckles of variegation all over it. And honestly, I don't even know if it's going to pick up on the camera like it does in real life. I really doubt it. But if you see little like speckles on the leaf, that is actually variegation. But she is very long, very cutesy little lobes. She has just put out a new leaf for me, which is a great sign. And I really wish that this variegation would pick up on camera. This may be another one that I need to take a photo of and stick it on the screen, because I was so surprised when I got this. I was like, is that damage? And then it was like, no, it's like, but it's got speckles all over it. So it's not just one here or there. It's like all over the leaf, this like crazy speckly variegation, which is so interesting because I don't have any type of variegated anthurium that presents that way, and I always like kind of like unique variegation like that. This is a plant by Eddie Prenoto, I believe is how you say his last name, but this is his Purple Mystique crossed with Red Vein Dark Phoenix, and this one is a stunner. This is a stunner. She is ultra dark, and she is so flat. Like, she is a flatty patty, totally flat, and gorgeous veins, very prominent sinus, very spidery veins. Old leaves are crisping off just a little bit from its transition, and I don't see a ton of root growth. However, it is getting ready to push a new leaf, so I'm not overly concerned with that. But geez, this leaf, it is so beautiful. Definitely like sub-velvet texture, and just so dark, those veins. Jeez Louise. This one is actually pretty similar. This is Anthurium Red Sonja. And this is one that has, I really like when it has like a dark olive green. Like, it's not too dark, but it keeps that like olivey green tone, and then the really red veins. So this one does keep not just a very red sinus, but also very red veins throughout the leaves. And you can see this is an older leaf, and it still has that red sinus and red in the veins. So this is something that she just keeps for a really long time. I think that's one of the really nice characteristics of this plant. Our next two are from Paul over at Understory Oasis, and this one is Pap RA6 crossed with Bevet, which he calls Swamp Raisin. This one really doesn't look like much of anything right now. It's just a large seedling, nothing really special. This one's just really like blade and dark and funky looking, and he has like the best names for his plants. Swamp Raisin, like where do you come up with that? But yeah, I'm dropping stuff everywhere. But yeah, nothing much to look at right now. It is about to give me a new leaf, so that is exciting. And then this one is Carla Yard crossed with Stripey Mag. Again, just a large seedling, not a lot to see here, but gorgeous parent plants. So hoping this one will develop some cool characteristics as it gets older. This is just a little Bessier AFF who really went through it in shipping. She is really wavy though, and that is why I got her. You can see, hopefully, leaf margins are wavy as heck. This one too, and her emergent, which I cut off because it was damaged in shipping, very, very wavy. So I'm hoping that that is a trait that will actually get stronger as she gets older. And she is a really pretty plant. The newer leaves were much, much darker than these are, and she's got pretty veins. You can see a little bit more on that one, but the main selling point of this one was that wavy margin. So hopefully that will continue, because that would be a great trait to breed with, because I love waves. And this plant is from High over at Midnight Garden. It is his SKG Purple Emergent crossed with Red Vein Dark Phoenix. And this one is ridiculously dark. Like, ridiculously dark, very blade. Absolutely gorgeous. Definitely one of my favorite plants right now. This is another one that has very, very, very dark purple veins that continue. They're like a dark gray purple. And if you can see on the back of the leaves, it is also a dark gray purple. So this is not red. It is not pink. It is like a very dark plum lavender color, which in my opinion with these dark leaves, just absolutely insane looking. But hopefully you can kind of see, like, it's literally it's picking up so dark on camera that I don't think you'll really be able to see. So as you can imagine, I'm very, 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 very excited to watch this one grow, because I think this one is just absolutely phenomenal. All right, that is it for like our catch up from where I had moved things onto the lower shelves that I had not yet talked about. Now we're moving on to the next shelf, which is going to be shelf 3. This is Hoffmanii crossed with Dark and Stormy. And this one, very long, very dark, leathery texture. Cool veins as per usual. I just love the way how the veins kind of like disappear as the leaf continues, especially with how long it is. And right after I got it, it gave me this absolutely enormous leaf. which is quite a bit larger than its previous ones. It is a little wonky, but honestly, I'm kind of here for it. I do like it. We like a wonky leaf. We like a mutant. We like cool stuff. This one is from Rousseau Plant Care, and it is a papillilaminum crossed with his plant called Carlos, which is some kind of Carla hybrid. And this one, very, very dark. Oh my gosh, am I gonna say, like, what am I gonna say about all these plants? Dark, nice veins. It's the same on everything. But yeah, the veins on this one are really good. Spidery, kind of yellow. This leaf was a little wonky. That was its newest leaf. Its previous leaves had more of like a wide sinus, which I do kind of prefer. This one's kind of long too. Definitely darker, but wide sinus. Yellowy, spidery veins. Pretty cool. I just put out a brand new leaf, so I'm eager to see how big that one's gonna get. Okay guys, this is one of my all-time favorite anthurium, and this is an Ace of Spades crossed with a papillilaminum, which is a pretty standard cross, I feel. But this was her oldest leaf that I have on this plant. Like, I'm sorry. Hello, these veins, red sinus, dark as can be, gorge. And then this was her last leaf. I'm trying to hide the emergent for last. Look at those veins. Look at those veins. Did I luck out on this thing or what? Like, I got this as a little bitty plant. Those veins are nuts. Nuts. They're like orange. It like goes from very, very pink in the very center, like the sinus in the center of the veins, and it kind of like bleeds out to orange. And then this was her newest leaf. Look at how perfect that is. This is the bestest leaf that has given me. I chopped her. So I do have some propagations of this plant that I'm going to be selling over on Palm Street. But this emergent is absolutely phenomenal. I'm trying not to mess with it too much because I really do not want to damage it. This is the best leaf that it's given me two for. But she's got very, very tall lobes, like wine colored, burgundy, chocolatey type vibes. This one's like a little more narrow. But she is more evenly shaped also. Like that is a textbook Gorgina leaf. Wowzers. I actually think I have like 2 props of this that I have taken that are sprouting. So those will probably be available pretty soon. Okay, it has suddenly gotten really cloudy, so I had to change the settings a little bit. Hopefully this looks okay. This is going to be my papillilaminum X1, and I'm definitely going to stick a photo on the screen that I took of this plant when its emergent was still hardening off. It is so rainbowy. It is nuts how rainbowy it is. But this is one of its older leaves, very high lobes with like a very small space in between. Beautiful. Older leaf, also looking good. And then this was the newest one. This is the emergent that I just took a photo of. She's a little like curled back. But yeah, this plant is absolutely gorgeous. Definitely A+ veins on this one. So we are behind me now. This is going to be the shelf right here. First, we have my Cunalense. How are we supposed to say that? I got this from NSC Tropicals when they had, I guess, like a restock on their website. She is gorgeous. Honestly, not being the worst for growing in ambient. I know I'm absolutely insane for even attempting to grow this in ambient. But, you know, I want to know. I want to know she's doing okay. She is yellowing a little bit, as to be expected. From what I've seen, these like to yellow even if you have them in a tent. So, I mean, if I can get comparable yellowing in ambient, like, I'm not honestly going to be ultra upset about that. But it is just a baby. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe if I get it used to it now, when it matures a little bit, it will not be such a diva. But yeah, unlikely, but we're going to see. We're going to try. You know, I will be the experiment for everybody. And this is a Kuna cross. So this is Ace of Spades crossed with Kuna. And this one, oh my God. I like this one much more than just the regular Kuna. It is so pillowy, and just the shape of the leaf, that roundness that it gets from the Kuna. Oh my God, I'm in love with this plant. This is from Aeroids in Orlando. Girl, you, in the off chance that you see this video, you killed that cross. You killed it. Look at this. Look at this. Amazing. And then the way leaves harden off. I don't know if it's on all Kuna. I feel like I noticed this pretty commonly though on them, like on photos I see online, how they kind of like shift from this like peachy rosy color to green is the most beautiful thing that I have ever seen. Like, I'm enjoying that so much. I just know this is going to be one of my favorite plants. I can just tell. I can tell already. This is another one of my experiments in how far can I push plants into ambient humidity, because this is one that I knew would not like ambient humidity because of the texture. Normally, if you ever see an anthurium with these like really like this texture, like the splendidum texture, which is kind of what this had, it was just longer. I was like, I know that plant is going to hate me, but I still want to try. Like, I feel like with enough time, pretty much anything can acclimate. I truly believe that. Now, it may not look as good as it would in a tent, but if it looks almost as good, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a little yellowing, a little crisping. Like, we can make it through that. The thing is, this one did not look like this until I was building these shelves and it was sitting away from the humidifier for several days. So I believe when this comes back, it'll look better. It'll look better than this. And the other thing is, it's got another offset growing down in here that is putting out new leaves. And the new leaf looks fine. Like, the emergent is doing fine, even though these other leaves kind of crisped up from like my shelf building escapades. So I believe this may have a comeback. I do have another chunk of this upstairs that I do not know if I'm going to sell anytime soon, because that may be my replacement for this if this one does not get it together and learn to love the environment that it has, you know? This little guy is a crystal mag that I bought for very cheap because it had one randomly variegated leaf. And again, like, I swear I do not have a gambling problem, but I was like, I want to see what happens and see if her variegation pops out. And she still has her little leaf that I bought it with. It was all green except for this one leaf down here that had, but it was white sectoral variegation. And I was like, for that price, it was worth a chance, you know? And she did give me another leaf with variegation. It is more of like a minty variegation. If you can see on this side of the leaf, how it's like pixely like that. That is not damage. That is variegation. So it did come out more like minty, but she's still throwing variegation is the thing. So I feel like this one's going to have random leaves that just pop out with variegation here and there. And at least it does have it in the genetics, you know, so that may be a higher chance in the future of offspring having variegation. If I use this plant, if it ends up being a good one, we'll see. Alrighty, and this is some kind of red spider variant that is variegated. The mother plant, I got this from Rad Roots on Palm Street, of course. Their mother plant, gorgeous. This one was not showing like a ton of variegation. Like, you can see it right here on the edges. It is more of a sectoral, like splashy variegation rather than a minty variegation, which is what really attracted me to it. It does have like some in the corner of here too. But I can already see that the newest leaf is variegated, even in just this, like how tiny the emergent is. So I'm feeling pretty good about this one. The mother plant had really good genetics, and this is an offset of that plant. So I think she's getting a fair amount of light now. So I think she's going to do really well. And we're going to see some really bomb variegation from her. This one is a Carla. So this is RA crossed with round, crossed with GPH, and it is from Buzz Plants. And she is, as expected, absolutely gorge. I love it when Carlas have this like very, like a lot of like the white veination in the sinus. But this one's pretty long. I do have another Carla that was the first Carla that I got. I think this was the second one, and it was very round. So I'm trying to get, you know, some variation in the Carlas. I just don't want the same thing over and over. But this one's very long, interesting veins. That thick white veination in the sinus, beautiful. Older leaves are beautiful too. So yeah, this is one of my Carlas. And this one's from Grant. This is Tim Anderson Stripey crossed with Carla Round, crossed with GPH 001 number 1. And this one looks more Carla than the stripey. But it is still really, really beautiful. Again, this one's pretty narrow. And that is her newest leaf. Looking very nice and cute. This is a forgetii that I literally do not even remember where I got this plant. I was going to get rid of this because I had no interest in it. It was giving me so many issues. But I noticed that it randomly is variegated. I don't know when this happened. I literally did not notice this on the leaf. You can see the leaf is kind of busted because I have not been paying any attention to this one until I noticed a splash of variegation across it, which you cannot really see on camera. It just looks like damage, especially because she's yellowing. But yeah, she's randomly got a splash of variegation across there. So I'm giving her a lot of light just to see what happens. This may be the seedling that I am most excited to grow. This is from Grant. This is his smog, which is I cannot remember. It's something crossed with debilis, crossed with Tim Anderson's stripey, and it looks like absolutely nothing right now. However, I will put a photo on the screen of his plant that he calls smog, and you will see why I am so incredibly excited to grow this. And that is the mother plant. So we're going to see. And father is Tim Anderson stripey. Like, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be crazy. Okay, this is a really cool one. This is some type of Ray Pap hybrid that I got from Nice Plants Good Pots, but it is a mutant. So look at how long and skinny and wavy these leaves are. I have a thing. I'm telling you right now, you want to see some weird mutant plants, subscribe right now, because that is my thing. That is what I want. I want a whole section of weird mutant freaky plants that are probably not aesthetically appealing to most people, but if you like weird stuff, stick around because you're going to see some weird stuff around here. This is its newest leaf that it had shipped with before it gave me this little baby immersion over here. And she is so dark, crazy dark, flat sinus, wavy as heck. Again, I am Captain Wavy over here because I love a plant with wavy leaves. And then like, look at that little leaf down there. It is so narrow. It is so narrow. This literally looks like a spider plant or something. Isn't that crazy? It's bananas. And I mean, with it being, I feel like a lot of the mutated plants, like you don't really know how they'll grow. Like they may not grow the best. They may not be the best for like breeding purposes. They may not be like big. They may stay kind of small, things like that. However, like just for the joy of growing them, I'm still going to have a lot. That is just the truth of the matter. I mean, how awesome is that? Okay. We have got a mother plant, No ID crossed with Pap, pollen donor, Carla crossed with Kuna. And this one, this is one that struggled a little bit just from being shipped because I know that this was kept in really high humidity in a tent. Oldest leaf looks pretty normal. We have got this leaf, which was the one that kind of sold me on this plant because she has got some really nice lobes and super cool veins. And then this is the newest leaf that it gave me. However, this was like a fresh emergent when it was shipped. So it is understandably hardened off, quite a bit wonky. But you can see the vision, right? Like we can see the vision on this. Alrighty, this is Ace of Purple crossed with Red Vein Dark Phoenix. This one just looks kind of like a normal dark Red Vein Dark Phoenix hybrid right now. But she's very pretty. Very pretty, very good condition, very healthy. She is not fussy whatsoever. She is very chill. Just gave me this leaf, which is very pink. Very pink, very long. Tall lobes. What are you going to look like when you harden off? We will see. This one is from Woohoo Tropicals. This is Pap Woo 9 crossed with Carla Woo 2. And this is just like a very good looking Pap Carla cross. Got kind of like that thick white veining right in the sinus. But I can't really tell like what it's going to look like. Like it's still too young. No signs of a new leaf yet. It just put this one out not too long ago. So we got a little while. Got a little while on this guy. This one is from Max Aeroids. We have a Carla Max 2 crossed with a Pap Pacific Coast. And this one's gorge. So very interesting veining on this one. It's kind of angular, very minimal angular. Kind of reminds me of that Mind Flayer Forgetii, which I think is Nigel's at Boy Gardening. But yeah, that veination's bomb. This is the leaf that it was putting out when it was being shipped to me. So again, kind of wonk, but very dark. Do you see that kind of crazy looking venation? I hope it keeps that. This one is the much loved Papillium Voldemort crossed with Ralph Linum. It has been selfed. However, she looks like Voldemort. She looks like Voldemort. Look at those lobes. This is the first leaf that has given me. This was the previous leaf. This is from Woohoo. But yeah, tell me that does not look like Voldemort. I think I lucked out with the genetics on this one because she is looking good for this being the first leaf that it gave me. This is like the first one that's starting to show like some mature traits, I think. So this is gonna be a goodie. This is gonna be a goodie. Alrighty guys, the last two on this shelf, and they look pretty similar. So the first one is an Ace of Spades dark form crossed with a Dresslery Eastern Panama Woo 1. So is from Woohoo Tropicals. This was its last remaining leaf that I've had from when I got it. And then this is the last leaf that has given me. So she's looking, honestly, she looks kind of like Red Vein Dark Phoenix to me. Dress, because the veins are like so red, but it has those like really long, tight veins. Very pink in the sinus. Look at how cute those little lobes are and her poofy cheeks. She looks like a little bear or something if she wasn't so long. Like the cute little ears and the cheeks. Oh my gosh. And she's so shiny. The texture, wow. She is a beauty. She's a queen. And this is another one from High at Midnight Garden. This is an AOS crossed with Red Vein Dark Phoenix crossed with Midnight Velvet. And these are a couple of the older leaves. So this one's very narrow and the veins stay so red. Like I cannot imagine how red they stay on just like a straight Midnight Velvet because they stay so I have another Midnight Stranger. I have another Midnight Velvet cross and a Midnight Stranger cross, I think, that are in my prop bins. And they just stay so red. Like the veins stay so red. So that is one of the older leaves. You can see that one's yellowing just a little bit. Older leaf, still red. Like the veins are still red. You can really see it a lot on the back. And then that is the last most recent leaf. Let's focus camera. We're almost done. So texture, phenomenal. Veins, phenomenal. And then this is its most recent leaf, which she is getting really cute. Really cute. And you can really see the red of the veins on the back. Like that just looks so good. So good. Look at that. Man. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Hi, hello. It is a couple of days later and we are just going to pick up right where we left off. So this is my original wavy anthurium that got me obsessed with wavy anthurium, and it is my anthurium Bigfoot crossed with basilisk. As I mentioned in the previous part of this video, this is my problem child. It has been so incredibly difficult. It may have just been due to the fact that when I initially got it, I didn't put it directly into a prop bin to rehab it, like from the import process. I did get it from Cartel Dawn. And when you import plants from like Indonesia, places like that, there's just a very steep acclimation curve that they go through that takes some time, and you really have to, I think they're more successful if you do something like putting it in sphagnum moss and then like putting it in a bin where they can regrow some better roots that will support the plant that they are attached to. I did not do that with this one. I may end up having to just go back and totally cut like all its gross roots off and reroot it in sphagnum moss in a bin, but I'm giving it a little bit more time because with the new mix, it has been giving me some healthy looking roots on one side, and it does look like it is pushing out some new growth. So I'm gonna give it a little while. I'm gonna see what happens with this growth point, if we get a leaf, if it continues to grow some healthy roots. And if nothing comes from that, I'm probably just going to totally restart it and stick it in a bin somewhere. But this one is absolutely stunning. I know that once this is actually healthy, this will be an incredibly beautiful anthurium. I love how flat the sinus is, and you can see that ruffle on the edges that is just out of this world. I do have a couple of propagations of this, but I'm unsure on whether or not I will be selling those, as this one is not doing super well and I do not want to lose this plant altogether. So I am regrowing those, just like totally fresh start with those guys. And then I have this one, and we're gonna sort it out one way or another. And once this starts going again, if I do have some extras, I probably will sell them. This one is from Buzz Plants. It is an anthurium circus peanuts crossed with a papillilaminum, crossed with a red crystal, that's the mother plant, crossed with the pollen donor, which is a Dresslery RG clone number 2. And this is just a very nice, lumpy, bumpy, textured, good looking guy right here. I'm just really adoring all of the texture that is showing up on this most recent leaf. It did have an emergent when it was shipping, but it did abort it, which again is like not very shocking when you ship plants. If there is an emergent, it's like, I feel like it's like 50-50. Either it'll be fine or it'll melt off, and it's just kind of like something that happens. But this is definitely one that I'm really, really excited to see as it gets bigger. I hope that it'll get pretty big, because circus peanuts is pretty big. And I think that circus peanuts cross that he has is fairly big. So hopefully this one will have some really big, blade, dark, funky leaves. Alrighty, this one is super duper exciting. This is an FTG, or Fairchild Tropical Gardens crystallinum. I got this from NSC Tropicals also, and this one is already looking absolutely phenomenal. Very long, sinuses widening, venations looking out of this world already. It has a new emergent that it has just put out that is already looking really, really good. That veining is getting really, really thick up in the sinus. And this is just one of the most incredible anthurium out there, in my opinion. I think that pretty much anything that's crossed with this turns out absolutely incredible looking. So I feel very, 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 very fortunate to have this guy. Next, I've got a couple of Black Widow crosses. So this is a Black Widow Michelle crossed with a no ID. These are the older leaves, so she is very dark. A lot of texture, really cool looking. And then this is the newest leaf. So we have got some absolutely incredible venation. She is ultra dark, very satiny, kind of long, which is interesting. She is quite long, so I'm wondering maybe like Dresslery or something. It's definitely giving dress. Very beautiful, very interesting looking. Love the way that this one's turning out. I also have this guy. This is, oh, why do I not have a tag in this? I think this is another Black Widow no ID. From what I remember, is it? Or is that this one? Oh, I do have a tag. Yeah, this is another Black Widow Michelle no ID. So this is kind of similar to the previous one. This one is more of like a leathery texture, where this one is much more velvety. I got these from the same place too. So I'm wondering if these are siblings, because they're both Black Widow Michelle no IDs from the same seller. So it would be pretty indicative that those would be siblings. But yeah, I just like the variants again, how this one is like the venation is the same. It has that thin spidery Black Widow veining. However, this one is more leathery, less texture. This one is velvety, a lot more texture. So I just am so excited to see these kind of like grow up side by side, because they're a pretty similar size. So I feel like that'll be just kind of fun to see those go in their own direction. This one I have over with my Black Widow Michelle, even though it is not a Black Widow Michelle because it looks very similar. It is a King of Spades crossed with a Windy Dresslery. This one is definitely thicker. So this has more of the King of Spades like density to it, but still very interesting veins. This one is not as dark as the other ones, however. I wish this would focus. There we go. Okay, the next one is one that I was seeking out for a very long time, because I wanted a very specific specimen, being very long and narrow. And there is such a wide variance in this cross, or when you cross these two type of plants. It is a dark and handsome cross with red velvet cake. So you know, if you know that cross, like there are as with any cross, there's a lot of variance. So you have some that are like more dark and handsome leaning, that are like a little bit wider, etc. Some that are more velvety, whatever. But I had been seeking one out that is very dark and narrow. They are very, very difficult to find. First of all, that is that form where it is very, very narrow and long. Second of all, that is not $1 million, because Rare Plant Fairy was selling some really good ones, but they're always like $500 on there. And I was just not wanting to spend that much. And I found a ridiculous deal on this one, and it is literally exactly what I was wanting. Look at this plant. Is that not absolutely insane? And it's kind of, I'm trying to straighten the leaf out a little bit. It's kind of hard to see just because it is so incredibly dark, and she's a little, like, she bows outwards a little bit. So it's hard to kind of get a good, look at this thing. When I look at this, I'm just like shocked. I'm so shocked that I was able to find this plant, because this is exactly what I wanted. And I think this is the darkest, narrowest, sharpest one that I've seen out there. And just the fact that I got the deal on this one that I did is crazy. I'm telling you, if there's a plant that you really, really want, you just have to kind of stalk Etsy and Palm Street sometimes and just like refresh every single day. I literally go, if I'm looking for something in particular, I'll just like, when I'm having my coffee in the morning, I'll go and just check and see if anyone has updated anything. And I was literally out walking solely one night, and there was some seller, I can't remember who it was. It's not someone that I purchased from before, that had, it looks like they had a mature plant that they had kind of like broken up, and this was an offset from that mature plant. And man, I'm just telling you, I was so ecstatic when I saw it listed and for the price that it was listed, and I snapped it up as fast as can be. These are her other leaves. So that is the oldest one right there. So again, very dark and narrow. This is her newest leaf. Now this one was like a fresh emergent when it shipped. So it is a little bit dinged up, but honestly, it doesn't look terrible. And then we have got our first total new leaf in my care, if you can see here, coming out right now. So let me tell you, the anticipation on this leaf coming out, because it looks so long, like so long already, even as it's emerging. Cannot wait to see that. Alrighty, and then I have one more Black Widow Michelle No ID. That is another one that's kind of more on the leathery leaning side, still very minimal veins. However, this one is very, very shiny. It's has a little bit of a blue sheen to it, and it's much, much, much more pillowy than the other one that looks kind of similar to this. So you can see the coloration's different, the finish is different. And then this one's just so incredibly pillowy. She did just put out a very new leaf right here, which is very pink and cutesy. And yeah, that one's yellowing a little bit, but that was on it in shipping. So again, just, you know, it happens. All right, this is another plant that gives me a lot of problems. And honestly, like her roots, has she rotted her roots again? I cannot tell. But it just keeps rotting its roots. And I have brought this back from the brink of death probably 3 times. And the reason I refuse to let it go is because it's so incredibly beautiful. And it is a BVEP crossed with a Carla. And this one is another one that I got from Lindsay over at All the Plant Babies. And you can see the previous leaves. Like, this is a crusty old leaf that I've had on it for an eternity. This was the newest leaf that it put out, and it's so dark. It is so dark and pretty in the veins. Please stay alive. Like, you are so beautiful. Stop trying to pass away. But it has given me a new leaf. And look at how perfect this new leaf is. Like, it has got the pinkest veins, and she is such a like chocolatey black color. Wow. Like, okay, see, you cannot blame me. Like, I'm gonna keep trying to save this plant. It doesn't matter how many times it tries to die. Like, I'm not letting you go. I am not letting you go. You are too pretty. This guy is a blue pap crossed with a Carla. And it is a round cross with GPH001. And her old leaves look a little beat up. Like, they look like they could have had a little bit of pests at some point. It did not have pests when I actually got it. But I like these really like sharp angular veins that it has going on. This is the oldest leaf, which is unfortunately dying off. But it is what it is. And it did put out this new leaf. This is the first one that has given me since shipping. So she is a little wonk. You can see it, like one of her lobes is a little is a little limp there on that side. However, the venation, the color, looking real good. This is the one that I've had for quite a while, and it is finally starting to do better. It is a papillium crossed with an RG dress, and this was its oldest leaf that it still has on there. So very, very, very dark. She is very dark. You can kind of see the tone there though. It's like a very, very dark green. Gorgeous. Great venation. Love the lobes on this one. And then this is its newest leaf that it gave me. So she's a little bit like long, and she's getting kind of narrow too. I don't know if that'll continue or if it's just, you know, like a one-off on this leaf from where it was kind of struggling. But again, just so pretty. Oh my gosh. Let me hide my face so we can try to see some of that detail. Yeah, this one's a really good one. And she has a nice long caterpillar here, finally, that looks like it is about to push a leaf. So that will be such a relief if I actually get like a bigger leaf that comes out, because this one was pretty big and then that one was a little bit smaller. So hopefully the next one will go at least back to this size, if not bigger. This one I just repot, and this was my first like actual variegated anthurium, and this is just a papillium, but it is variegated. And this is its oldest leaf. You can see it is kind of yellowing off here. But I just had to repot her because she was so root bound in her smaller pot. So I think she's growing pretty well, and she just put out another leaf right here. If you can see that looks pretty big. So I think that one's going to be a good one. But yeah, so variegation is absolutely phenomenal in this specimen. And then that is her first leaf that she gave me in my care. So really, really beautiful variegation. It comes out more yellow, hardens off to more of a white. But I love this combination of this like very prominent sectoral and this kind of like mottled variegation in the other areas. I just think that is a really, really nice balance. This is another really cool one that I actually got from Equigenera on Palm Street on one of their lives. And it is a Nigrolaminum Gigante Silver. And this one has very, very long, narrow, silvery green leaves. So this is giving very much like Philodendron Silver Sword, that type of kind of minty green, a little bit, like not quite as gray as the Silver Sword, but still very similar. And I actually taped the back of one of these leaves because I broke the midrib there. And that does actually seem to work most of the time, but you can see how cool is that? Just like how long and narrow and the texture on there. I was so surprised when I saw this. I was like, wow, that is a stunner. And yeah, fortunately I was able to get a really good specimen. They do still offer these very frequently. Now, not all of them are this narrow and this sharp. So I would just say, like, if you do get on there looking for something that looks very similar to this, that you are just vigilant and you do really check like the photos and ask to see it and everything to make sure that you are getting what you want, because they do not all look like this, but they do have some that look like this, and this looks absolutely incredible. This one I'm very happy to say is a comeback. This is the one that I got from Cartel Dawn. This one is probably doing the best out of all of the ones that I got. And it is they call it Barong, Anthurium Barong, but it's definitely some kind of King of Spades hybrid because it has that like really, really thick, rigid leaf. This is the first leaf that it gave me in my care, so it was kind of wonky. And we were on the struggle bus for a while, so the fact that it was even this big when it came out, I didn't care about the damage. I was like, holy moly, I cannot believe it gave me a leaf this big. And then this is the first good looking leaf that it gave me. So very dark, King of Spades, venation, although it is very, 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 very minimal. You can barely see it on there. It is so subtle. And she does have pink stems, pink sinus. The main thing here is the texture. It is like very, 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 very thick, leathery, which is interesting. I am a texture person, so I feel like this one is going to make some really interesting babies with that really thick, rigid texture. This is a really cute Forgetii cross with Dresslery. Oh, rats, I just ripped that emergent. I really like this one because of the pink sinus and the way that that silver venation kind of forms around the sinus. Like it is that same kind of like explosion of silver coming out from the middle. So pretty, very cute, very round. The emergent, if you can see, I'm so mad at myself for ripping that. It does have a few sinus. And it does come out like a flaming hot pink. I wish that I had taken a photo when it was originally coming out because it's like the hottest pink that I have ever seen on a plant. But yeah, she's looking really cute. Love that she has fused her sinus all the way. The previous, this leaf right here does have a semi-fused sinus. So now we are going totally fused, which, as I've said many times, I love. So we are very happy to see it. This one is a red spider crossed with a red magnificum. So venation, balm, shape of the leaf, balm, red sinus. Love that. She is quite thick. She does have like a very thick, it's almost the same like King of Spadesy. Like it's so thick and rigid. This is the most recent leaf after that one. So I am really, really loving how that venation is turning out. And it also just gave me a little new leaf right here, which is pretty vibrant also, although it is not nearly as hot pink as the previous one that I was just talking about. It does still like keep a lot of that pinkness. Like you can see even in the older leaf, the pinkness in the sinus and the petioles stay very, very pink. And then a very saturated pink emergent there, but yeah, she's turning out really great. This is my original Carla. It is a district crossed with an RA8. And this is one that I accidentally rotted the roots on, but she is growing back. Looks like pretty well. She probably needs a bigger pot before too long because I do see a lot of roots on there. And she looks amazing. However, this one definitely had some kind of flat mites or something, which I did treat for. This is actually a pretty small leaf. The leaf previous to this was massive, but still it looks really good. You know, like the venation's really good. The shape's really good. She's honestly pretty easygoing. I feel like I'm the problem here. I'm the one that caused the root rot. Because the first leaf that she gave me was that absolutely massive one. And this was the subsequent leaf. And this is the one that looks kind of iffy. So much smaller, some kind of mighty damage, something going on. But she's definitely growing. So we have a caterpillar coming up right there. And I'll probably check on her roots and maybe give her a little bit of a bigger pot. I was going to wait until she pushes out that next leaf, but it looks like we may have some rotty roots in there. So I think I'm going to go in and just double check. This one is a Bessier AFF crossed with an Ace of Spades crossed with red crystal. And I just thought this was like it looks quite Bessier to me. It's just like a nice, good, solid Bessier. She did put out a new leaf, which is still expanding over here. And the venation on that one looks really good. But yeah, honestly, not like a ton to say about this one. Just thought it was like a really cute example of a Bessier. She had really good veins. I kind of like how they split here at the end. And I'm eager to see how she turns out. Last one on the top physical shelf, like not on top of the shelving unit, is this one. And this is a Bessier crossed with the BVEP Felix, crossed with Mr. Worldwide. And this is a mutant. So this is one that has some of the coolest looking blister variegation I've ever seen on a plant. So it has just given me a new leaf here. This is its oldest leaf. And hopefully you can see like how this blister variegation kind of like melts down the middle. I don't know how well that's turning. Let me turn the light up a little bit here. Okay, I'm gonna be very bright because it's sunny today, but just disregard that. It's just so that you can see the plant a little bit better because it's so dark and it's hard to see that blister variegation on camera. So this is the oldest leaf. This is the next leaf. So check out that blister. That looks so good. And I love the way the lobes are kind of like curling downwards. If you can see that, amazing. This is the first leaf that it gave me. So very, very curly. She is wavy, wavy, wavy. Still very interesting blister variegation there in the sinus. And then she has just given me that new leaf. So this one is definitely one of my favorites just because it's so weird and unique. And there's so many points of interest on this one. Again, I don't know exactly how this will turn out like for breeding purposes. I'm definitely going to experiment with it, but you know, it may not be the strongest parent. Also, I feel like I'm going to put a photo on the screen just because I feel like from what I can see in the viewfinder, the camera is just not doing it justice. Like you just can't see that blister variegation quite as well as you can see in real life. So I will stick a photo up there just so that you can see a really good example of what it actually looks like. And just FYI, I do have some pendant anthurium that I'm not going to talk about in this video. I have a pallidiflorum, I have a Wendlingeri cross, I have a Frederick Stallii, but they're hard to pull down because of the strappy leaves, so I'm just going to leave them up. There's nothing exciting, like they just look pretty true to species. I do also have a variegated viridifolium that is recovering. It is rehabbing right now. So those are not going to pop up in this video. This is a variegated crystallinum. Now this one has the type of variegation, you can barely kind of see it here where it is variegated, but it's one of the ones where it comes out variegated and then it fades kind of slowly over time. So it's not like super prominent. It is, I feel like, just a good solid looking crystallinum outside of the variegation. And it does have a new leaf that's looking to be pretty large here in the middle. But yeah, so it does come out pretty variegated and then it fades off just to a standard green leaf. But it does have variegated genetics, so we'll just see if that leads anywhere. All right, this one is an RLFS crossed with Dabulis, and Dabulis is one of my favorite anthurium. Again, I'm a texture person. I love the texture on it. I love the way that it looks and the characteristics that it brings when you cross it with other anthurium. However, it is one of the most notorious for being like very difficult to care for. Like it wants super duper duper high humidity. And as I said, I grow in ambient, so that is not an option for me. However, I was hoping that things would turn out a little bit better with a cross. And I actually have a few Dabulis crosses, so we're going to kind of see how that turns out. One of them kind of started going downhill when I was building my shelves because, again, I had them away from the humidifier. I normally keep them still fairly close to the humidifier just because I know that they are, of the plants that are out here, some of the ones that probably would benefit from the humidity a little bit more. But that one started going downhill because it was nowhere near the humidifier for a few days because I was having to just throw things wherever I could fit them. However, this one has been doing pretty well. It was a little yellowy when I got it, probably just from the transport and things like that. But it still looks good. Like the leaves still feel very alive. They do not feel like they are limp and floppy. And you can see a lot of that really cool Dabulis texture in that one. That is the oldest leaf, which was a little bit bigger. And she is yellowing just a little bit near the edge. But yeah, that looks absolutely phenomenal. And then it just put out this new leaf right here, which is not crisping whatsoever. So I'm just making sure that she stays pretty damp and she is right next to the humidifier. And I think that that is working pretty well. This one I do not have a tag for, but I know it's some kind of Warocqueanum cross. I believe it is crossed with just like a crystallinum. And this is the first leaf that it gave me. When I first got it, it was in really, really bad condition. All of the leaves had yellowed off in shipping. So I had just the chonk, which I did cut up. So I do have propagations of this one. But this is the first leaf that it gave me from like the top cut of the chonk. But since then, she's really not been doing very much. I have moved her kind of like a little bit closer to humidifier and she's getting a little more light now. So I'm hoping like eventually she'll do something. But this is just like a really good example of the cross. So she is quite long and a little bit more narrow from the Warocqueanum. But the venation and the texture and everything is much more crystallinum. And even though she's given me like a little bit of a hassle, it is nowhere near the hassle that the pure Warocqueanums that I've had have given me. I just cannot grow that plant. I don't know what it is. Every time I get one, they just struggle and struggle and struggle. And it could just be like in the past, I haven't been giving them enough light, but I don't know. I'm honestly in no hurry to try it again anytime soon. So I'm hoping that this will kind of fill that void if she does get a little bit longer. This is something that could kind of be that missing part in my collection. This is another one that has given me quite the fuss. And it is a no ID called Matthew crossed with a very, very flat Bessier AFF. And this is the first half decent leaf that it has given me in an eternity. And you can see it's getting like a little flat here at the top, but nothing like what it was like when I first got it. All of those leaves have already died off. However, it has given me its first new leaf in a really, really long time. And it does look more flat than this leaf looks. So I'm just really hoping that we will return to those like flat genetics because yeah, this is just not quite what I pictured when I bought this. Last two on top. So I do have a Moodianum up there, which again is just like very true to species. So there's really not much to see there. This is an anthurium called Bloody Night crossed with Dark Phoenix. And this is just a cool, like dark phoenixy looking hybrid. I thought this was interesting because the petioles were kind of long. I do like anthuriums sometimes that have like really long petioles, just because I think it looks really cool when they like are standing up and there's like these really long petioles with these big leaves hanging off of them. So I was thinking, you know, maybe this would kind of go that direction, but who knows? We'll see. These are like the previous leaves. And then that is a more recent leaf. So the lobes are looking a little bit better there. And it has just given me a new leaf. So we will see. We'll see what comes out on that newest leaf to kind of see where it's going. This one is a SP Napo crossed with a Regal. And let me tell you, Anthurium Regal is not the Anthurium for me. Anthurium Regal and Anthurium Warocqueanum, they do not have a spot in my collection at this point because I just cannot deal with the fuss. Those have been the hardest Anthurium for me and the most fussy. After you try to restart something like 5 times, I'm just over it. I'm like, you know, at this point, I really do not care if you make it or not. Do whatever you want. But this one, the SP Napo, brought me back in because she is absolutely gorgeous. Love the shape of the leaf. Very pink sinus. Super duper pink veins on the back. Let me turn her around here. So super duper pink veins. Texture is just so good. It is so good. And it's pulling up a little yellow on the camera, but she does not really look this yellow in real life. But yeah, she's a very good looking girl. Love the lobes, the texture, the veination. She has like all the good things that I love. This one is some kind of no ID that I got. It did say when I got it that it had some type of Mind Flayer lineage, which is a specific Forgetii. But this is just a really cool one. So it does have a semi-fused sinus, which is what I really liked, even though the newest leaf ditched that. But it does still just have like a really cool texture, really good veins. I am hoping that as it matures, the fused sinus will come back though. This one is a dot block Anthurium. So this is Zara number 33 crossed with Home Sweet Home. And this is another one that I'm kind of worried about. I've had it for a while and I don't see any new roots. And the roots that were in here were looking kind of funky. So I think I'm going to go ahead and check on the roots on this one too and just see where we're at. This one is absolutely phenomenal. She has got absolutely gorgeous veins. The pink in the sinus stays for a really, really long time, which I absolutely love. This is a more recent leaf, so you can see a little bit more of the color. And this one is actually, she is dark, but she's kind of like a gray olivey green. I don't know if that makes sense. But she just looks so, so nice with the veins and the coloration of the leaves and the texture of the veins and the coloration. She has very, very raised veins in the middle, which is cool. And then she also has, this is like a quirk. So she has got kind of like mutated lobes where, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it has kind of like a gill looking, kind of like a raised gill here in between. You can kind of see it here, which is just kind of interesting. You know, she has just that little fun fact about herself that she has webbed lobes. This is some sort of red crystal. I have no idea which one, where it's from, what lineage. I actually did not order this plant. This was sent to me by mistake. I had ordered a different plant and the seller got our orders mixed up. They did credit it back to me and they didn't want the plant back. So, I mean, I just kept it. We'll see what happens. I may end up selling this one. I mean, it is a nice red crystal. But we'll just see. If my Michelle turns out to be better than this, I'll probably keep the Michelle and sell this one. But if this one turns out better, I'll probably keep this one. This could be a Michelle, who knows? And this one is one of the few Luxurians crosses that I have. It is a Neurolaminum GG cross with Luxurians. And literally the selling point of this whole plant, as you can probably tell looking at this, is these crazy lobes. So she is very narrow. She's like very narrow and angular with these crazy lobes. And I just fell totally in love with her. This was the newest leaf. This was kind of like emerging while it was shipping. So honestly, that turned out a lot better than I thought it was. But yes, the lobes for me, like, They just went crazy with this like very like arrow-shaped leaf with those big old lobes. This is another one that's kind of giving red spider. It's a Fort Sherman crossed with a forgetii. However, it does have the tendency to fuse its sinus, and then it does have quite red venation in the middle. This is a much younger one. Like she's still growing up. But you can see this is I actually think this is the older leaf. And she does have a fused sinus up here, very red. Cool veins. And then this was her newest leaf, which was already pretty much hardened when I had gotten it. But no fused sinus, but she is still narrow with that really beautiful veining. And very, very red. Very red in the sinus. This one is actually another form of the Dark and Handsome crossed with Red Velvet Cake. So this kind of shows you the variants. So this one is much wider. Much wider. Veination is much different. It is still very dark. This newest leaf, what I really loved about it was the veination. Like it looks almost like a little bit Black Widowy. Kind of webby and spidery and beautiful. And she does have nice pink veins on the back, which I always love. And yeah, she's just so beautiful. I cannot wait. Cannot wait for this new leaf to come out. Like you can see she's like just barely putting out a new leaf in the middle. But she is rooting like crazy. So I have a pretty good feeling that this next leaf will look good. All right, y'all, we are down to the final anthurium that we're going to talk about in this video. As I mentioned in part 1, I do have many more anthurium that I'm not talking about or showing in this video just because they are either rehabbing in prop bins and you kind of don't know for sure how those are going to turn out. So I don't want to mess with them too much. And then also I have a lot of seedlings that I don't know what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to sell. So the ones that I do keep, as they grow up, you'll probably see more of those. But this is definitely, again, one of my very, very favorites in my collection, and is a crystallinum called, I don't know if it's Antiqua or Antiqua, but it's crossed with a Carla Bess. And I got her shipped pretty big. You can see this was her oldest leaf that kind of got beat up in shipping. This was the next leaf. And then this is her newest leaf. Like, are you kidding me? Look at this plant. This thing is absolutely insane. I have this as like the centerpiece of my cabinets behind me because I'm just mesmerized by this. It's so incredibly dark. The veining is just insane. It has this red eye in the middle. Like this plant is just out of this world. And this was being grown in the literal tiniest pot you have ever seen. Like I do not know how this leaf size came out of that pot because it was so small. So I did repot her into a much larger pot. She's filling it up already. And she's definitely in caterpillar. She has not given me a new leaf quite yet just because I think she's focusing on rooting some more. But Jesus, can you imagine a bigger leaf than this as her next leaf? I'm on the edge of my seat, y'all. All right, y'all, if you made it to the end of these 2 incredibly long videos, thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you are interested in seeing updates on these anthurium, if you are interested in my journey into hybridization with these anthurium, if you're interested in seeing the anthurium that I did not talk about in this video, please like, please subscribe. It will mean so much to me and it helps the channel so much. And I will have, I'm sure, many more anthurium chore, anthurium updates, anthurium whatever videos in the future because I got a lot of stuff to do. I got a lot of anthurium on my hands. But I appreciate all of y'all so much and everyone that has liked and subscribed. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.